Long ago, when the world was still fresh and the skies were closer to the earth, the gods held dominion over all living things. They did not remain distant or silent. Instead, they spoke directly to the creatures of the land, guiding them, teaching them, and helping them maintain the balance of nature. Among all the animals, the gods favored one in particular, the clever and nimble monkey. With his unmatched agility and sharp mind, Monkey became the gods' chosen messenger, a bridge between the divine and the earthly. Monkey's duties were sacred. His role was not merely to pass words from the gods to the animals. He was entrusted with secrets that shaped the very fabric of the world. The gods knew that their messages had to travel swiftly and accurately, and Monkey was the only one capable of such a task. His speed and grace allowed him to soar through the forest with ease, leaping from branch to branch, his long limbs swinging through the trees like a breeze. His journeys were filled with purpose, and every creature in the kingdom respected him for the honor bestowed upon him by the gods. However, even for one as agile and talented as Monkey, the gods knew the task was not an easy one. To make his work smoother, they planted magnificent banana trees throughout the land, trees that towered above all others. Their trunks stretched high into the heavens, their leaves wide and strong, and their fruits, golden and plump, glowed like treasures hidden in the green canopy. These trees were unlike any other. Enchanted with divine power, they acted as natural ladders, connecting the earth to the heavens. Only Monkey, with his special strength and abilities, could climb these towering trees with ease. From the topmost branches, he could reach the realm of the gods, receive their words, and return swiftly to the earth to deliver their messages. But the banana trees held more than just a practical purpose. Their fruits were special, sacred, divine, and forbidden. The gods had decreed that no animal in the kingdom could touch or taste these bananas. They were fruits of the gods, their sweetness reserved only for the divine realm. It was a rule that could not be broken, a line that no creature dared to cross. The other animals could only gaze at the bananas with longing, but they knew better than to disobey the gods' command. For Monkey, however, things were different. His role as the gods' messenger placed him in a unique position. Though he respected the rule, he was given a rare exception. Sometimes the gods' messages were not ready right away, and Monkey would have to wait high up in the trees, perched between the heavens and the earth. During these times of waiting, the gods, in their kindness, would offer Monkey a few of their precious bananas to sustain him. These bananas were unlike anything found on earth, sweet beyond measure, soft as the morning mist, and rich with the essence of the heavens themselves. Eating them gave Monkey strength, not only for his journey back but for his continued role as the messenger. But these moments of indulgence were rare, and Monkey cherished them deeply. He never took more than what was offered, and he always remembered his duty. The gods had entrusted him with a role that no other creature could fulfill, and with that role came both privilege and responsibility. Monkey understood this balance, and as he swung through the forest delivering the words of the gods, he carried not only the messages of the divine but also the weight of their trust. And so, the forest remained in harmony. The animals went about their lives, unaware of the secret sweetness that Monkey tasted in the treetops. They saw only the messenger, swift and silent, moving between the earth and the heavens, his task eternal, his loyalty unwavering. The banana trees stood tall, their fruits glowing high above, untouched and untouchable, except for the moments when the gods, in their mercy, allowed their faithful messenger to partake. Monkey, proud of his prestigious role as the gods' messenger, basked in the admiration of the other animals. Each time he returned from a visit to the towering banana trees, he would swing through the forest, his movements graceful and effortless, and boast of the divine fruits he had tasted. "You wouldn't believe how delicious they are," he would exclaim, his voice full of pride and excitement. As he leaped from branch to branch, his eyes sparkled with the memory of the heavenly sweetness. "These bananas, they are nothing like the fruits you know. They are soft like clouds, sweet like honey, and when you taste them, it's as though the gods themselves have touched your tongue. The other animals gathered below, listening in awe to his words. Their eyes followed Monkey as he darted through the treetops, his voice filling them with wonder. They had heard of the gods' fruits, but none of them had ever come close to tasting such a rare delicacy. The bananas that grew high on the sacred trees were forbidden, guarded by the divine rule that no animal could lay a paw on them. Only Monkey, with his sacred roll, was allowed to climb those trees, and only he had been blessed with the privilege of tasting the fruits. The animals marveled at Monkey's stories, but deep down, a sense of longing stirred in their hearts. Among them was Tortoise, the wisest and most thoughtful of all the animals. Tortoise was not fast or strong like Monkey, but he possessed a sharp mind and a patient nature. He watched silently as Monkey boasted day after day, swinging through the forest, reliving his moments with the gods. Though Tortoise admired Monkey's talents, he could also see that Monkey was becoming too proud. His boasts grew louder with each passing day, and it was clear that Monkey enjoyed the attention as much as he enjoyed the gods' fruits. Tortoise knew that while Monkey's heart was in the right place, his naivety and pride could be easily manipulated. As Tortoise listened to Monkey's endless descriptions of the bananas, a plan began to form in his mind. He was curious, more curious than any other animal, about the true taste of the gods' forbidden fruits. It wasn't just the sweetness Monkey described that intrigued him, it was the mystery, the allure of tasting something that had been reserved for the heavens. Tortoise, with his wise and calculating nature, decided it was time to use his intelligence to taste the fruit for himself.
I hope you are enjoying the story. Please, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, so that you will be notified anytime I upload new video. Now let's continue the story.
He knew that while Monkey was fast, strong, and favored by the gods, he was also a bit foolish. Monkey's pride in his role made him careless, and Tortoise saw this as an opportunity. He decided to approach Monkey in a way that would appeal to his ego, knowing that once Monkey's pride was stirred, he could be easily swayed. One afternoon, as Monkey swung down from a branch after another boastful journey, Tortoise slowly made his way over, moving with the deliberate slowness for which he was known. "Oh, Monkey," Tortoise said, his voice calm and wise. "You are indeed fortunate. To be chosen by the gods is an honor beyond compare. And to taste their fruits, that is something none of us can even imagine." He paused, watching Monkey's chest puff up with pride. "It must be wonderful to be the only one trusted with such a gift." Monkey, pleased with Tortoise's words, grinned wide. Yes, it is a great honor," he said, swinging playfully from a low-hanging branch. "The gods trust me because I am the fastest, the strongest, and the most deserving. Their fruits, well, there's nothing like them." Tortoise nodded thoughtfully, his eyes narrowing just slightly. "Indeed, you must be special to receive such a blessing. But you know, Monkey, it is a shame that none of us will ever know what the gods' fruits taste like. We hear your stories, but we can never truly understand." He sighed softly, a hint of disappointment in his voice. "To think we will live our whole lives never knowing what you know, never tasting what you've tasted." Monkey, who had never thought much about how his boasting might affect the others, felt a twinge of guilt. Tortoise's words stirred something inside him. Something that made him want to share his experience, to let the others understand the joy he felt. After all, he wasn't just a messenger for the gods, he was part of the animal kingdom too. Surely sharing a little of the gods' bounty wouldn't hurt anyone, would it? Tortoise saw the hesitation flicker across Monkey's face, and he knew his plan was working. He pressed on, speaking softly as if in confidence. "I know the gods have their rules and I respect them as much as any creature. But don't you think just once you could share a tiny piece with your fellow animals? Just a small taste so we might understand what you've been blessed with? After all, isn't it lonely to be the only one who knows such sweetness?" Monkey hesitated, torn between his loyalty to the gods and his desire to share the experience with his friends. "Well, I suppose one piece wouldn't hurt," he mumbled, scratching his head. Tortoise smiled, a glint of triumph in his wise eyes. "Of course not, my dear friend. After all, you are the God's chosen messenger. They trust you above all others. Surely they would not mind if you shared just a little of their kindness with us." And with that, the seed of doubt was planted. Monkey, swayed by his pride and Tortoise's subtle manipulation, began to consider what he had never before dared, sharing the forbidden fruits with those who could never reach them on their own. Tortoise, patient as always, waited. He knew that soon enough, Monkey's pride and desire to please his fellow animals would lead him to do exactly what Tortoise had hoped for. One day, after a long journey delivering a message from the gods, Monkey returned to the forest, his limbs tired but his heart light with the satisfaction of fulfilling his sacred duty. As he swung down from the tall branches, Tortoise was already waiting for him with his usual calm, friendly smile. Slowly, with his careful steps, Tortoise approached, his wise eyes gleaming as he greeted Monkey. "Ah, Monkey," Tortoise began in his slow, deliberate tone, "you are truly the luckiest of all creatures. Every time you visit the heavens, you bring back stories of the gods' words and of course the sweetness of their divine bananas. But tell me, my friend, have you ever thought about how much we admire you? How much we, your friends, long to share in just a small part of the sweetness you've experienced?" Monkey, always fond of flattery, puffed up his chest, pleased with the admiration. He swung lazily from a low branch, his tail curling playfully around it. "Oh, Tortoise," he said, grinning from ear to ear, "I know the gods have been kind to me. I am their messenger after all. I taste the bananas because I need the strength to complete my journeys. But you know the rule, the fruits are forbidden for all other animals." Tortoise nodded slowly as though deep in thought. Yes, the rules, but don't you think just once it would be wonderful to let your friends share in that joy? You always tell us how sweet the gods' fruits are, but how can we truly understand if we've never had the chance to taste them? His voice was soft, coaxing, and full of wisdom. "A small taste wouldn't hurt, Monkey. After all, sharing is a virtue, isn't it? You would be doing us all a kindness." Monkey hesitated, the words sinking into his mind. Tortoise's suggestion stirred something within him, a desire to share his joy, to show the other animals just how incredible the gods' fruits were. "Well," he began, scratching his head, "I suppose it wouldn't hurt if a little piece fell accidentally. Just a small bit wouldn't make the gods angry, right?" Tortoise smiled, sensing his opportunity. "Of course not, Monkey. You are the gods' trusted messenger. They wouldn't mind if you allowed us a tiny taste. It would make us all understand how special your role really is." Monkey, feeling both proud and excited at the thought of pleasing his friends, nodded. "Next time I'll see what I can do," he said confidently as he swung back into the trees, already imagining how much the other animals would admire him once they tasted the gods' precious fruit. The next time Monkey ascended the tall banana trees to visit the heavens, he was as swift and skillful as ever, climbing effortlessly up the divine ladder to where the gods awaited him. As he reached the top, the familiar scent of the sweet bananas filled the air, and as usual, the gods rewarded him for his patience with a few of the sacred fruits while they prepared their message. Monkey took the golden bananas, his mouth watering as he savored each bite. The sweetness was just as perfect as ever, soft, rich, and heavenly. But this time as he ate, he remembered Tortoise's words. The idea of sharing a bit of this sweetness with the others tugged at his heart. After all, how could his friends ever understand the true taste of the gods' fruits if they never had the chance to try them? As he sat in the treetops, enjoying his bananas, Monkey allowed a few pieces to slip from his hand. The pieces of banana tumbled down through the leaves and branches, descending toward the ground where Tortoise waited below, his sharp eyes watching every movement. As the bananas fell, they scattered in all directions, landing in bits and pieces on the forest floor. Tortoise hurried over, his movements slow but determined. Despite the mess, he managed to find a small piece that had landed safely within reach. With great anticipation, Tortoise took a bite. The moment the fruit touched his tongue, Tortoise was overcome with the sweetness. It was unlike anything he had ever tasted, so soft and delicate, it melted in his mouth, filling him with a sense of warmth and satisfaction. It was as though the heavens themselves had opened, and for that brief moment, Tortoise understood exactly what Monkey had been boasting about all this time. The taste was so perfect, so divine, that it lingered in Tortoise's mouth long after the small bite had disappeared. Yet, as much as Tortoise enjoyed that fleeting taste, he also knew that what he had done was forbidden. The gods' rule was clear: the bananas were not for the animals of the earth. Still, the sweetness was so irresistible, and Tortoise's mind began to work once again, wondering how he might get another taste of that heavenly fruit. Monkey, meanwhile, had no idea that his small act of kindness would soon lead to far greater consequences than he could ever imagine. As Monkey descended from the towering banana tree, his heart was filled with both pride and uncertainty. He swung from branch to branch, eager to reunite with the other animals, but as soon as he landed, he saw the scattered remnants of the sacred bananas. The animals, gathered around in a mix of excitement and confusion, showed him the fruit pieces that had fallen in all directions. Monkey's face fell. The fruits were meant to be a gift, a secret taste for his friends, but now they were wasted, broken on the forest floor. Monkey scratched his head in embarrassment, his tail drooping. "I'm sorry," he muttered, looking at the eager faces of his companions. "Next time I will find a better way." Determined not to let his friends down again, Monkey swore to himself that the next time he ascended to the heavens, he would bring the bananas back without fail. The temptation to share what only he could experience gnawed at him, and the memory of Tortoise's words clung to his mind. Wouldn't it be nice to share that sweetness with your friends? When Monkey returned to the heavens for another message from the gods, he tried to focus on his task. The gods, as usual, welcomed him and, after making him wait for their divine message, rewarded him with a bunch of bananas for his patience. As he began to eat, the sweet aroma and tender texture made his mouth water. The taste was as heavenly as ever, but this time, something inside him stirred, a small, forbidden thought. He glanced at the golden bananas and remembered the excitement in Tortoise's eyes, the curiosity in the other animals, and how much they longed for just one taste of this fruit. In a moment of weakness, Monkey plucked one banana from the bunch. His hands trembled as he hid it carefully, a gnawing sense of guilt creeping into his heart. Just one, he thought, only one, and no one will know. He convinced himself it would be fine. What harm could it do to share a single banana? It would bring joy to his friends without hurting anyone. When Monkey returned to the forest, he hurried to find Tortoise. His heart pounded, not with fear but with excitement. "Here," he whispered, handing the hidden banana to Tortoise. The wise creature's eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he accepted the fruit. Without hesitation, Tortoise gathered the other animals, and together they tasted the forbidden treasure. The reaction was immediate. Joy spread like wildfire among them. The sweetness of the gods' fruit was beyond anything they had ever imagined. The animals chattered excitedly, their tongues still savoring the flavor that lingered long after the banana had been eaten. They praised Monkey, calling him a hero for sharing such a rare and divine gift. The forest was filled with laughter, and for a brief moment, it seemed as though all was perfect. But their joy did not go unnoticed. When Monkey returned to the heavens once more, his heart light with the praise of his friends, he felt a strange tension in the air. The gods, in their infinite wisdom, knew what had happened. Their faces were stern, their voices deep and heavy with disappointment. "Monkey," the gods began, their eyes piercing through him. "You have broken the rules. These fruits are sacred, meant only for the heavens. They are not to be shared with the animals of the earth." Monkey's heart sank, guilt rushing through him like a cold wave. He had hoped they wouldn't notice, but he had underestimated the gods' power. "We understand your desire to share the sweetness," the gods continued, "but rules must be followed. You have broken the trust we placed in you. Do not share the fruits again or there will be consequences." Monkey bowed his head in shame, his tail curling tightly around him. The weight of the god's warning hung over him like a dark cloud. He had tasted the thrill of defying the rules, but now the fear of what might happen if he did it again gnawed at him. Would he risk angering the gods further? Could he truly resist the temptation to share the divine sweetness with his friends, knowing how much joy it had brought them? With a heavy heart, Monkey left the heavens, knowing that his actions had set something far greater in motion, something he could not yet fully comprehend. Monkey nodded solemnly to the gods, the weight of their warning heavy on his shoulders. But as he descended back into the forest, he couldn't shake the feeling of Tortoise's gaze, the wise creature waiting with his knowing eyes. True to his nature, Tortoise was patient, but his desire for the sacred bananas had now become an unquenchable hunger.
I hope you are enjoying the story. Please, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, so that you will be notified anytime I upload new video. Now let's continue the story.
The small taste he had gotten before had only deepened his longing, and he would not be satisfied until he had more. Days passed, and Tortoise, ever watchful and cunning, approached Monkey again. His voice was calm, soothing as he spoke to Monkey in the gentle, reassuring tone that always seemed to lower Monkey's defenses. "Ah, my dear friend Monkey," Tortoise began, his slow steps drawing closer. "You are strong, swift, and wise in your own way. The gods trust you as their chosen messenger, and your friends admire you. But tell me, what harm has really come from the small taste we shared? Didn't your friends smile brighter that day? Didn't the forest feel more alive? You see, no misfortune has fallen upon us from that single act. Surely the gods won't mind if you share just one more time." Monkey felt the weight of Tortoise's words press against his mind. He remembered the joy in the animals' faces when they tasted the divine fruit. The praise, the admiration, how good it had felt to be the one who brought them that happiness. And after all, hadn't everything been fine? No disaster had struck, no punishment had come. Still, a part of him hesitated, remembering the stern voices of the gods. "But Tortoise," Monkey said, his voice trembling with doubt, "the gods warned me. They said there would be consequences if I shared again. I don't want to anger them." Tortoise, always patient and wise, smiled reassuringly. "Consequences, yes, but only if we cause harm. We have done no wrong, Monkey. We are your friends, and sharing something so wonderful with us is an act of kindness, not betrayal. The gods are wise, yes, but surely they wouldn't punish you for making your friends happy." Monkey's heart wavered. The gods' warning still echoed in his mind, but Tortoise's words seemed to dull the edge of his fear. Perhaps Tortoise was right. Perhaps the gods wouldn't mind one more time. What harm could there really be in one small act of generosity? After all, it was just a piece of fruit, and his friends, his companions, deserved to taste its sweetness again. So, with a sigh, Monkey gave in. The next time he ascended the great banana tree to receive a message from the gods, the sweet scent of the bananas filled the air once more. As usual, the gods gave him a few bananas while he waited for their message. But this time, with a guilty heart, Monkey plucked one extra banana from the bunch and hid it carefully. His mind was a swirl of emotions: excitement at the thought of sharing it with his friends, fear of what the gods might do if they discovered his secret. When Monkey returned to the forest, he sought out Tortoise immediately. The sly creature was waiting, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. Monkey handed him the forbidden fruit in silence, the weight of his decision heavy in the air. Tortoise, ever the schemer, quickly gathered the other animals, and they shared the banana among themselves. The animals were overjoyed once again. The taste of the gods' fruit was just as sweet, just as divine, and they praised Monkey for his generosity. Laughter filled the forest, and for a brief moment, it seemed like everything was perfect. But this time things were different. Far above, in the heavens, the gods watched closely. They had seen Monkey's actions, had noticed the banana he plucked and shared with the other animals. Their patience had worn thin, and their anger began to stir. No longer was this just a small act of kindness, it was a defiance of the rules they had set. And worse, it was not only Monkey's fault. The other animals, by tempting their messenger, had now also fallen into disobedience. The gods' voices, once gentle and wise, now thundered across the skies. "Monkey," they called, their tone filled with disappointment and fury. "You have broken the rules again. You were warned not to share the sacred fruits, but you have defied us. And you, animals of the earth, you have tempted our messenger, turning him away from his sacred duty. For this there will be consequences." The skies darkened, and the animals, sensing the gods' wrath, trembled in fear. Monkey's heart sank deeper than ever before, his tail curling around him in shame. He had not only broken the gods' trust but had now dragged his friends into the consequences as well. The laughter and joy that had filled the forest moments before were now replaced with silence, as the animals realized that their desire for the forbidden fruit had angered the gods. The gods' punishment, though still unseen, loomed like a storm cloud over the forest, and the sweetness of the bananas no longer tasted as sweet in their mouths. Monkey, filled with regret, could only wait for what would come next, knowing that the gods would not be so forgiving this time. In their anger, the gods did not merely scold the animals. They decided to change the very nature of their world. They looked down upon the forest, where the once proud banana trees stood like ladders to the heavens, and with a wave of their hands they cursed the trees. No longer would they tower above the forest, stretching towards the sky like bridges between the gods and the earth. Instead, the gods decreed that the banana trees would shrink, their heights forever limited. The wind itself was instructed to blow harshly against any banana tree that dared to grow tall again, knocking it down before it could reach its former glory. The gods were not finished. As they peered at the disobedient animals below, they declared that the bananas that would now grow from these shorter trees would never again taste as sweet as the ones Monkey had once enjoyed in the heavens. From that day forward, no matter how much a monkey craved the fruit, no banana would ever satisfy their hunger for the divine taste. The sweetness, once so pure and delightful, was lost to the earth, never to be found again. Monkey, standing at the base of the now stunted banana trees, felt the full weight of his mistake. He gazed up at the heavens, where once he had climbed with ease to carry the gods' messages, and now, no matter how strong or swift he was, the path to the gods was closed to him forever. His heart ached with regret. The bananas he once received as a reward for his loyalty and patience had been more than just food. They had been a symbol of his special connection to the divine. Now, all he had were the tasteless fruits of the earth, a pale shadow of the sweetness he had once known. And so, Monkey's life changed. No longer the proud messenger of the gods, he was left with a hunger that nothing could ever truly fill. He began leaping from tree to tree, his eyes always searching, his hands always reaching for bananas. But no matter how many he found, none of them tasted the same. The craving gnawed at him, a constant reminder of the divine sweetness that was now out of reach. Since that day, monkeys have roamed the forest in search of that lost taste, hoping in vain that one day they might find the fruit that once belonged only to them. But Monkey was not the only one who suffered. The entire animal kingdom felt the wrath of the gods. The other animals, who had tasted the forbidden fruit through Tortoise's cleverness, now understood the price they had paid for their greed. The forest, once filled with laughter and joy after sharing the divine bananas, was now silent and subdued. No one dared speak of the sweet taste, for it had become a bitter memory of the punishment they had brought upon themselves. Tortoise, in particular, learned a painful lesson. His wisdom, once admired by all the animals, had led them to a forbidden place. Yes, he had outwitted Monkey and gotten a taste of the gods' fruit, but at what cost? The gods' fury had fallen upon all the creatures of the earth, and Tortoise realized that sometimes, wisdom was not in tricking others or bending the rules, but in knowing when to leave well enough alone. From that day forward, Tortoise walked more slowly and spoke more carefully, his mind always on the lesson he had learned, that some things, no matter how tempting, were not meant to be taken. The animals, too, respected the boundaries set by the gods, for they now understood that the sweetness of the gods' gifts was not something to be taken lightly or shared without permission. And so the legend lived on. The monkeys, forever leaping from tree to tree, searching in vain for the taste of the divine fruit. The banana trees, forever stunted, bowing before the wind whenever they dared to grow too tall. And the animals, forever cautious, knowing that the wrath of the gods was a force too great to challenge. Since that day, monkeys have craved bananas not for their taste but for the memory of what they once were, a gift from the gods that they can never truly reclaim.
Thanks for watching today's story. I believe you enjoyed every bit of it all. Now I want you to do me one favor, subscribe to this channel, like and turn on the notification bell if you have not done so that whenever I release my next video, you will be notified immediately. See you soon.